Every autumn, thousands of silver eels vanish from rivers, their bodies transforming for a perilous journey into an ocean darkness where no human has ever seen them breed. Scientists have tried satellites, submarines, even decades of desperate searching, yet the truth behind this hidden spawning ground has defied discovery since the days of Aristotle. If we're convinced we know the answer, why does so much evidence remain missing? The real mystery begins the moment the eels leave and enter the abyss where all certainty ends. Under the cover of darkness, a silver eel drifts near the riverbank, motionless except for the slow, deliberate flick of its tail. The world above is silent, but below the surface, the eel senses a subtle change. Cooler water, a faint pull of the distant tide. For years it has waded in the muddy shelter of fresh water, feeding, growing, transforming. Now, something ancient stirs, a surge of hormones, a quiet command written in its bones. The eel's skin glimmers with a metallic sheen, its eyes wide and glassy, tuned for the blackness ahead. Tonight, it will not feed. The body has already begun to change. The gut shrinks, muscles thicken, fat stores accumulate, fuel for a journey that will never be repeated. This is semal parity, one final act before death. The eel's muscles tense, and with a single powerful undulation, it slips free from the familiar silt. The current is gentle but insistent. The eel hugs the riverbed, moving with purpose, always downstream. Its body is sleek, streamlined, built for endurance rather than speed. Above, the moon is hidden behind clouds, but the eel's enlarged eyes absorb every stray photon, reading the faintest shimmer of starlight. Nocturnal migration is its safeguard. Under darkness, predators are fewer, and the eel's silver body is nearly invisible. Across thousands of rivers in Europe and North America, countless others are leaving their birthplaces at this same hour, all drawn by instincts older than memory. The journey begins not with a leap, but with a slow, steady glide into brackish water where the river surrenders to the sea. With each flick of its tail, the eel moves farther from the world it has known. Soon, the river will widen and the water will taste of salt. Ahead lies the abyss, uncharted, unseen, and for the eel, inevitable. The plunge has begun. Salt water replaces the taste of earth. The eel leaves behind the last hints of river silt, slipping into water that grows colder, heavier, and strange. The surface fades above, replaced by a gray-blue gloom. Below, the world thickens into a darkness that swallows all direction. No sunlight reaches these depths. Not even moonlight can cut the black. Pressure builds, silent and relentless, squeezing from all sides. The eel's body is ready for this. Its eyes, now twice the size they were in youth, catch what little there is to see. Faint glimmers from drifting plankton, the ghostly outlines of other travelers far below. Muscles packed with fat drive each slow, tireless beat of the tail. The gut, once busy with feeding, has shrunk away to almost nothing. There will be no more eating. Every cell is tuned for endurance and survival. Here, in this abyss, sound carries differently. The water is thick with silence, broken only by the distant, muffled clicks of unseen creatures. The eel's skin, armored in a metallic sheen, reflects what little light might betray it to predators. Its swim bladder, thickened and reinforced, holds just enough gas to keep the body balanced even as the pressure climbs. Blood chemistry shifts. Salts and special proteins shield cells from the crushing weight, while the heart beats slow and steady, never faltering. There are no landmarks in this world, no riverbanks, no roots, no stones. Only gradients of cold, subtle changes in salinity and the pull of ancient instincts. The eel senses these invisible cues, traces of chemical plumes, faint temperature shifts, perhaps the memory of distant gyres. It glides on, deeper, where the only constant is darkness and the promise of something unknown. In the black water, the eel becomes a shadow among shadows, vanishing from all human sight, crossing a boundary that no one has ever followed. The mystery deepens with every meter, locked in the silent world beneath the waves. Far out in the open sea, invisible to the human eye, a different kind of traveler begins its journey. This is the leptocephalus, the larval form of the eel, a creature so delicate and transparent it seems made of nothing but water and light. Shaped like a willow leaf, each leptocephalus stretches up to 10 centimeters long, its body nearly flat and almost invisible, with organs and bones suspended in a clear, gelatinous sheet. In the darkness, these tiny drifters catch the faintest glimmer from passing plankton, their bodies shimmering like glass. There are no parents to guide them, just the endless ocean and the slow pull of the currents. The journey they face is enormous. From the presumed spawning grounds in the heart of the Sargasso Sea, leptocephali are swept westward and northward by the Gulf Stream and the North Atlantic Drift. Some will travel more than 6,000 kilometers, riding the invisible highways of salt and temperature that thread through the deep. For up to 3 years, they drift in silence, feeding on bits of marine snow and microscopic detritus, growing slowly as the world changes around them. Each larva is a passenger on a voyage it did not choose, carried by forces it cannot resist. The open ocean offers no shelter. There are no reefs or rocks, no familiar scents or sounds, only the vast, shifting blue. Yet these fragile creatures survive in staggering numbers, forming invisible rivers that flow across the Atlantic. As winter turns to spring, some reach the continental shelf, their bodies still leaf-like, their lives measured in the slow, patient rhythm of the tides. The scale of their passage is almost beyond imagination. Millions of transparent larvae, each one a living secret, drift for years across thousands of kilometers, destined for coasts they have never seen. In the open sea, the leptocephalus is both wanderer and witness, carried by the memory of a journey written into its cells. The next transformation waits at the edge of the unknown. At the edge of the continent, as the ocean's push slows and the water grows brackish, the drifting leptocephalus begins an extraordinary transformation. Its leaf-shaped body, once nearly invisible and flat as glass, starts to shrink and fold in on itself. Organs rearrange, bones thicken, and a faint line of pigment appears along the spine. Over days, the larva becomes shorter, rounder, and more robust, losing its transparency as the tissues fill with living color. This is the moment when the eel becomes something new, a glass eel. Glass eels are unlike anything else in the animal kingdom, small, slender, and almost entirely see-through, with eyes like black beads and a body that catches the light in a pale shimmer. At just 5 to 7 centimeters in length, they slip into estuaries by the millions each spring, riding the tides in ghostly waves. Scientists once doubted that these creatures were even eels at all. So different are they from both the adults and the drifting larvae. The link between the ocean's leaf-like wanderers and the glassy newcomers at the river mouth was a puzzle that confounded naturalists for centuries. In 1896, Italian zoologist Giovanni Grassi provided the first undeniable proof. Working along the Mediterranean coast, he observed the transformation firsthand, watching as leptocephali collected offshore gradually shifted into glass eels, their bodies reshaping before his eyes. Grassi's on-site confirmation settled a debate that had raged for decades. His work showed that the glass eel is not a separate species, but the next stage in the eel's hidden journey, a metamorphosis that happens just as the larvae reach the safety of the coast. The arrival of glass eels marks a turning point. Now equipped for a new world, they begin to sense the pull of fresh water. Some will linger in the estuaries, adapting to the changing salinity, while others press upstream, driven by cues still not fully understood. The glass eel phase is brief, a liminal state between ocean and river, but it is the moment when the eel's secret life becomes visible, if only for a short while. The mystery of their journey remains, but here, at the border of land and sea, the evidence of transformation is clear. For centuries, the eel's secret fueled wild speculation. In ancient Greece, Aristotle confronted a puzzle that defied all logic. He dissected eels, searching for any sign of eggs or milt, but found nothing. Frustrated, he declared that eels sprang from mud itself, born from the guts of wet earth after heavy rains. The idea of spontaneous generation, a creature emerging from nothing, took root, spreading through the Mediterranean world. Later, Pliny the Elder insisted eels grew from bits of skin scraped against rocks. In England, a bishop told the Royal Society that eels slithered from the thatched roofs of cottages. The mystery only deepened as each generation failed to find the missing organs. 2,000 years later, the question still haunted science. In 1876, a 19-year-old Sigmund Freud arrived at the Marine Station in Trieste, determined to solve the riddle. For 4 weeks, he worked in a haze of formaldehyde and brine, dissecting one eel after another, over 400 specimens in all. He searched for the elusive male organs, convinced that the answer lay just beneath the skin. But every cut revealed the same result: nothing but what looked like immature ovaries. Not a single testis, not a single sperm. The frustration was total. Freud published his findings, admitting defeat. The experience left its mark, pushing him away from zoology and toward medicine, the first pivot in a life shaped by unanswered questions. The eel's refusal to yield its secrets left scientists humbled. Theories collapsed, and even the most determined minds walked away with empty hands. The need for answers pressed on, demanding a new approach, one that would reach beyond the laboratory, out into the wild and uncharted oceans. Johannes Schmidt set out to solve the riddle that had defeated generations. Instead of chasing myths or dissecting specimens in vain, he turned to the open sea with a plan as methodical as it was ambitious. Between 1904 and 1922, Schmidt and his team crisscrossed the Atlantic, dragging fine mesh nets behind research vessels like the Dana, sampling plankton from the Mediterranean to the far reaches of the North Atlantic. Each haul brought up eel larvae, leptocephali, delicate, transparent, and leaf-shaped. Schmidt measured every one, recording their size and location with meticulous care. A pattern began to take shape. The farther west and south his expeditions traveled, the smaller the larvae became. Near Europe, the leptocephali were already several centimeters long. Closer to the center of the Atlantic, they shrank to a fraction of that size. In the heart of the Sargasso Sea, at coordinates between 65 and 48 degrees west, he found the tiniest larvae, some less than 7 millimeters long. Schmidt never found a single egg or adult eel. No scientist has. Yet the gradient of larval sizes formed a map pointing back to a single mysterious origin. The evidence was indirect, but it was the strongest clue anyone had ever found. As Schmidt wrote, these tiny Sargasso larvae leave no question where the eggs were spawned. His work shifted the search from folklore and guesswork to data and oceanography, placing the Sargasso Sea at the center of the eel mystery. The question of how eels breed remained unsolved, but for the first time, the world had a place to look. A vast gyre of warm, weed-choked water, hidden far from any shore. In recent years, a new generation of oceanographers set their sights on the open Atlantic, determined to track the final journey of the silver eel. They armed themselves with satellite tags, tiny, pressure-resistant devices programmed to record depth, temperature, and location every hour. In 2022, teams from Europe and North America attached these tags to migrating adults as they slipped out of rivers and into the sea. Each device a digital witness to a journey no human had ever followed to its end. The data began streaming in, mapping sinuous tracks that snaked across thousands of kilometers. For weeks, the signals held steady, showing eels plunging to depths of 600 meters by day, then rising toward the surface at night, navigating by some internal compass through the blue-black void. But as the eels neared the heart of the Sargasso Sea, the transmissions grew erratic. Some tags simply vanished, their last position blinking out in the middle of the ocean. Others surfaced abruptly, far from the presumed spawning grounds, evidence perhaps of predation or tags torn loose by powerful jaws. A few tracks pressed on, reaching the coordinates where the smallest larvae had been found a century before. Then, at depths between 600 and 1,000 meters, the signals went silent. No tag has ever transmitted from below this threshold. The technology fails, batteries drain, pressure crushes circuits, or the darkness confounds the sensor's ability to fix a location. In the final stretch, the eels vanish again, just as they always have. The ocean keeps its secret. Even now, with satellites circling overhead and sensors tracing every move, The last act of the eel journey remains unwitnessed, a blank space on the map and a question with no answer. In a laboratory on the other side of the world, a different species has given up one of its secrets. Japanese eels, close cousins to those of Europe and America, have been filmed spawning in the wild. Scientists tracked them to deep waters west of the Suruga Seamount, where, just before the new moon, they released clouds of eggs at depths of 150 to 200 meters. Temperature shifts triggered the event. For the first time, cameras captured the moment, proving that the impossible could, in fact, be witnessed, at least for some eels. Yet even this breakthrough casts a shadow. The European eel remains invisible at the moment of creation. Its Sargasso Sea breeding still a rumor built on gradients of larvae and vanishing signals. The tools are changing. Environmental DNA, traces left by living things in the water, now lets researchers detect eel presence without ever seeing a body. Autonomous submarines, programmed to sweep the Sargasso Sea depths, search for the chemical signatures of spawning. Prototypes are being tested, their sensors tuned to the faintest plumes of eel DNA, or the subtle spikes in salinity that mark a possible breeding ground. But the ocean is vast, and each new technology exposes just how little we know. While the quest for evidence grows more urgent, so does the risk. European eels are now critically endangered, their numbers down by more than 90% since the 1980s. Smugglers move glass eels by the millions across continents, fueling a black market worth billions. Conservationists warn, without knowing where eels breed, we cannot protect them. The search for their birthplace is no longer just a scientific puzzle, it is a race against time, with the survival of a species in the balance. Even now, no one has ever witnessed wild eels spawn. As genetic decline threatens their survival, European eel numbers have dropped by over 90% since the 1980s, and this mystery turns urgent. The ocean hides answers we may need to save them. Sometimes, the greatest secrets shape the fate of what endures, unseen beneath the surface. What would it mean if some mysteries are never meant to be solved?